10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Dire team ban. Radiant team ban. Ten seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the SLI South America.
Dire team ban. Radiant team pick. Dire team pick.
Night Stalker.
Hi, I'm Mike Loris, gonna be your caster for these games, and you know what? I would ordinarily put these two teams at not too far from one another as far as skill is concerned, but DC pick up Night Stalker. GG, no re. Can't beat the Night Stalker. Too OP. But seriously though, DC are on a pretty heavy tear right now. The rest of South America seem to be a little bit of a lesser team in every single team really compared to what DC.SA are bringing to the table. But though DC.SA have been known to play pretty well and are capable of bringing out some pretty heavy guns, their consistency, much like all the teams in the region, has a lot to be desired. So yeah, they'll on average win, but sometimes they just lose in spectacular fashion. So we'll see what it's going to be at least this time. But man, this start for DC.SA is just full of all-stars. Night Stalker and the Puck. Initiation, vision, lane control, boatload of silences. What more can you possibly ask for from your first two heroes? I mean, the first round of bans, pretty reasonable, but Luccini deciding not to go for the Puck. They did have the option of doing that, going for the Spirit Breaker and the Ancient Apparition. Now, these teams in the South American qualifiers, they freaking love their Spirit Breaker. I mean, it's a pretty common pick, pretty much, I want to say worldwide, but I don't know. China and SEA games happen at not a good time for me. I'm going to assume they like the Spirit Breaker as well to make this point. But he is incredibly powerful, but he's also pretty trash against the Puck. It just doesn't work very well when you're in that matchup. So if you're going to pick up a Spirit Breaker, usually you're going to have to make sure that the Puck is dealt with ban-wise. And the fact that they have an Ancient Apparition isn't really going to help their cause. They will need to look for now disables to come out from some of their core heroes, since Luccini are going to pick up, I would assume, at least their two supports in this 1 and 2. And both these supports are pretty garbage as far as dealing with a Puck. This is going to give DC.SA a lot of options. They know that the Puck, therefore, can be put into the off lane and should be really difficult to deal with. You can put him in the mid lane and just do pretty standard Puck things there as well, but that guessing game for Luccini is going to be really, really annoying for them to deal with. Such a hassle when you don't know where the enemy hero is going to be going as far as lane is concerned, and it's an even bigger hassle when that hero is of the caliber of a Puck. The Puck can really screw over your lanes if you aren't prepared for them, and already it seems like Luccini may be a little bit hard-pressed to deal. They are going to ban out a Phantom Lancer, another hero that's, well, first of all, DC have been picking up a lot in the games that I've seen of them, but is a hero that is also really good up against Spirit Breaker. Unless you use your Doppelgang beforehand, you will always be able to dodge a Spirit Breaker with it. Just got to make sure your timings are right. With this opening for Luccini, their goal, at least in theory, should be try to just get some aggressive plays in the early stages. Between Spirit Breaker and AA, assuming there's not going to be an offlane Puck, should be able to get some pretty serious action. Chilling Touch with Spirit Breaker is legit. Cold Feet, can't quite set it up all the time with Spirit Breaker, just the two of them. But add a third hero with any sort of small disable, and you can very easily get kills pretty much everywhere. And Batrider gonna get banned out, even though DC do have some pretty decent matchups there if they were to be picked up. Would be able to handle them. I mean, there's not much that a Puck and a Night Stalker can't handle.
5 seconds remaining.
They are just that versatile as a duo. Luccini, they have to diversify their abilities somewhat. They need some more easy disables that you can pretty easily land, but the problem is that disables do come out from a core. It's usually going to be either really late in the form of like an Orchid or a Basher or something like that, or it's going to be really easy to dodge. Look at Sven, look at CK. These disables are tools that Puck is really gonna have a good time dodging. Luccini instead will just look to capitalize on the Spirit Breaker in a different way. Okay, Puck, you can have your game. Spirit Breaker is going to team with the Darkseer and try to apply a little bit of pressure in that off lane. The Night Stalker really doesn't have much game up against this.
Dire team pick.
Silencer.
Up against a Spirit Breaker in and of itself. Add an Ion Shell on top of that cow, and yeah, that's pretty painful. It looks like Luccini are just going to go all into the lanes here. Pick up the Viper. Pretty safe hero to have versus a potential Puck pick. As DC do grab a Silencer. Combo Breaker, a third Silence. This is a solid hero to have with the Night Stalker. Would a Shadow Shaman have been better? Debatably.
Dire team ban.
Now Enchantress. Whoa. There have not really been many teams, and by many I mean any teams, at least in this SA qualifier, that have been willing to pick up an Enchantress. We've seen a couple of Enchantresses in some EU games, and I think they have. He's been picked up. Enchantress has been picked up occasionally, but just not in any games that I've seen. I have not seen DC.SA play this Enchantress yet, so I'm not exactly sure what the plan is here. Enchantress is really hard to deal with if you're a Spirit Breaker, but there is a decent amount of magic damage here for Luccini. Viper Strike, Darkseer, Ion Shell is incredible up against Enchantress. Ancient Apparition is no slouch either. It's going to give DC.SA a good amount of control in these lanes. If we're looking at a jungle Enchantress that support Night Stalker, that is an incredibly aggressive duo. May struggle to deal with the Spirit Breaker, and again, killing off heroes like Darkseer, not incredibly easy. And Viper as well. These heroes in Luccini are pretty durable. This is going to give DC.SA some pretty good scaling into the late game. Luccini are looking for some scaling of their own. Ban out the Juggernaut. Weaver is already out. It's been pretty much. You can go for something along the lines of a Luna, but if you really are going to deal with an Enchantress, you want some really heavy damage. You want like a Phantom Assassin level of damage, an Ursa level of damage. In fact, both of those two would be pretty reasonable here. DC.SA are going to hit the brakes in their draft with the Anti-Mage. Could have played this pretty aggressively if that last pick was not an Anti-Mage. If it was like a Drow or something, oh man, that would have been dirty. But are going to go for the late game angle with this AM. With these four heroes on DC.SA, though they may be a little bit fragile, they are able to buy. Luccini, though, get the heavy hitter themselves in the Anti-Mage, in the Terrorblade rather. Response to that Anti-Mage. The fact remains, their cores are very hard to kill. Magic damage from DC.SA is not exactly super impressive. And I'm not going to read into this at all right now, guys. I'm just going to wait till everyone arrives on the right hero and goes to their lanes before we look into it any further, because they may just still swap. Terrorblade is that really massive right clicker they should be looking for to deal with an Enchantress. Is perhaps not going to be the easiest hero to use to kill off Enchantress. That title probably goes to Ursa. But it is going to be DC.SA with a majority right-click based lineup. Right clicks. We'll run up against a really tanky Viper. We'll run up against a super high armor Terrorblade. Puck is really good versus Terrorblade. Tools are great. But as far as actually doing damage in order to kill off the TB, it's going to be a little bit of a difficult task here for DC.SA. Especially since I assume the Darkseer in this game is going to be going as pretty much as fast as you can towards a mechanism into those Guardian Greaves. You're up against this many silences. You need to make sure that you cover your bases and are able to cast those spells. So that additional amount of health and sustain for that Terrorblade. We'll see. And this Enchantress is that X factor. We are, of course, paused. Why wouldn't we be paused on the arrival in the game? It looks like we actually do have a couple of roles assigned here. Tekka on the puck, and unless they swap, but I mean, HFN, the Anti-Mage, going in the safe lane. King RD, Silencer, we got Matthew on the Night Stalker, supporting crew right there, and Attune. Gonna be going mid most of the time for DC.SA here, so really. And again, I'm not really going to read into it any further until we actually do know exactly who's going where, but on the Luccini side, Viper is unfortunately nameless, so you know what? I'm not going to call him by his name, because if you want to be called by your name, you wouldn't have put a name there. Yamari's going to be on the Terrorblade. We got Zinder on the Ancient Apparition. GN is on the Dark Ship. Got Jericho on the Spirit Breaker. Of course, we have the conventional pause at the very early onset of the game, which is fantastic. I'm told by the chat that King Tekka's name is El Vato Loco. I apologize if it means something that is impolite in that language. I'm just saying, this name is really hard to get down when Tekka is just so much easier to say. But hey, sometimes you just gotta throw in a crazy name. These lanes should be pretty interesting. And Night Stalker and is on like patrolling the map duty. You don't really want to tango with the Darkseer Spirit Breaker as a Night Stalker. You don't really have much gas up against a Viper. You really do much versus a Terrorblade? Doesn't seem like this Night Stalker's job is going to be very easy. You're on top of an Ancient Apparition. Night Stalker is the hero to be. Game is easy from that point. But how often is that really going to happen? It does seem like for DC, they're going to have to kind of play the slow game. Play the responsive game. And Luccini at that point will be able to take down some pretty easy towers. I mean, you're dealing with a swap. They swapped. Damn, my introductions are all wrong now. They swapped. You're dealing with the Viper. You're dealing with the Terrorblade. Heroes are going to be very, very capable of taking down these structures. An early rotation for Terrorblade, something we pretty frequently see. Get a handful of levels, level 9 or something like that is all you need. Power Treads, Aquila, optional Dragon Lance, and then you can just rotate around, and with the Metamorphosis, just take down a tower every single time. By that time, DC are not really going to be ready to fight over those structures, at least not into a Terrorblade. That is just a little bit too much power there. Moon is actually going mid Enchantress. Thought maybe they were going to swap it up, put the Enchantress in the off lane, but puck mid. Enchantress versus Viper. I have never seen this matchup before. And let's see what... I'm going to keep a close eye on it, because there's been 0 sightings, at least for me, of Enchantress going towards the mid lane. I suppose you just rely on your... I'm gonna call it durability, and with the Untouchable to stay alive. Again, Spirit Breaker is not that great up against Untouchable. Do land the initial charge, that's about it. Viper Strike is incredible, but just chipping out with Poison Attack, not really all that effective for killing off an Enchantress. She will get, at least I'm assuming, a couple of Nature's Attendants, and Enchantress is a hero that is going to be scaling up pretty well if you do get the extra gold and experience. And we've seen Enchantress with gold. Oh my god, stop the pause. We've seen Enchantress with a lot of gold in the past. Usually coming out of an offlane role or a support role and just a long game with Midas or something like that. Prioritizing levels is going to make her even more difficult to kill off between Nature's Attendants and Untouchable. Pretty sure you can actually jack a Terrorblade illusion as well. That's kind of nice. But of course, the big deal is going to be the fact that Enchantress with farm is an absolute monster at range. And Luccini at a range will be able to put out a lot of damage. Like Terrorblade, Viper, these are pretty high damage heroes. Are they going to be able to dish out more than the Enchantress? Jury's still out for that one. Jericho walked out, dropped an item. He did walk out, I think, in range of DC. Like, he went like that. So they know that the ward is somewhere here. In fact, blue is pinging exactly where it is. Not like there's much that the puck can really do about that. Matthew doesn't have any sentry ward either. DC.SA is going to be an Enchantress mid lane after all. And you know what? Let's get the more boring lanes out of the way first before we go back to that one. It's going to be the Silencer going up against the Darkseer. Anti-Mage is going to be with that Silencer. This is going to be a pretty passive lane. The Darkseer doesn't watch his mana pool. Ion Shells are very expensive until you do get that Soul Ring, and that is going to be his first item. Until then, the right-click down with a couple points in the Mana Void should be pretty well manageable by DC. Up on this top lane, Matthew and Tekka doing what they can right now, but they do have to be really careful. Puck is really difficult to kill once he gets like level 3. Right now, though, with just the orb, still pretty immune. Matthew, though, not as lucky. There's Orb of Venom here. Chilling Touch was used a while ago for something. I'm not really sure what, but still, this Night Stalker, again, doesn't really have much game around the map. Can't contribute all that much versus the Darkseer. Can't really kill off a Viper until more levels are picked up. Life is hard, so sticking around this top lane, kind of the only way he gets anything. Now we're in the interesting lane. Someone's going to die on top lane. I know it. While I'm watching this. But Attune, what build is he actually going to go for? You are going up against an Ancient Apparition. That survivability is going to be quite nice. And, oh, King Tekka is not level 2 yet. He's just short. Is going to orb very far away. And his corpse is going to be jaunted forward. If he had just a touch more experience, Phase Shift would have kept him almost completely safe. But instead, he is going to go down. And I didn't miss it. Thank you very much. 10-6 versus 6-5. I mean, Viper is known for having kind of low damage to compensate for the fact that he has both Nether Toxin and Poison attack. Enchantress has, I think, the most movement speed in the game now. 340 is, I mean, regardless of whether or not it's actually the most, it is a hell of a lot of movement speed. It actually, like, isn't fair. 285 versus 340, are you kidding me? OS Frog has blessed Bambi with speed. The swiftness. Of course, this lane isn't going to be really interesting until we hit level 6. Right now, though, we can see Jamari is actually doing nothing versus Attune. He hit her once. He doesn't have any poison attacks, so every single time he does issue an attack command, he will be drawing aggro. It's not really going to matter too much. It's a Viper after all. But this Enchantress is actually dumpstering this Viper. I know that there's going to be people who are like, oh, Mike, Attune does this every other game. Why don't you know that? But, you know, you don't get to see this very often. You do get to see this, though, pretty often. A Silencer getting run down by a bunch of angry Ion Shells. That is a pretty frequent sight. Whenever Darkseer and Spearbreaker are picked up, and there is nothing a Silencer can do about that. There's nothing HFN can do about that either to protect his ally. It's the nature of the lane. Now, this is going to let the Night Stalker do a little bit more on this top lane, since there is only just this Ancient Apparition to mess with. And he's going to get started right now. Just boot speed, right clicks, Void as well. There's an orb flying through that will be just off the mark, though. The reflection going up, they will dodge. Oh, no, they're just going to go in. We're going to dodge the rest of this gank, but they're just going to go in ham. Kill off the AA. And then have to wander out. Well, tower shots on Tekka. Jan's going to take an orb straight to the dome. Does have a lot of regen. Matthew is completely out of mana. With the Spearbreaker coming in, has a full enough mana pool. They have sight. Matthew is on the run. I don't think he's going to get out of this one. There is Greater Bash, and he gets another Bash. Oh, no, he's still alive. 3 HP, are you kidding me? Berry Fire is an item. Oh, no, no, no. He's going to go for the Bounty Rune? That would have been a little bit too much there. My god, even with the additional bash, I thought he was just straight dead to the initial charge. But an additional bash and an additional shot by the Terrorblade. Still not enough to kill off a Night Stalker. I mean, we're talking about OS Frog's blessings. He gave Bambi speed. He definitely gave Night Stalker strength. But he did not give Puck survivability. Oh, he did. Elusivity. Yeah, we're just like going full Shazam on this game. There's like 2 guys that'll understand what I'm talking about, and they're like, yes. It wasn't a perfect metaphor, but you know what? I tried, guys, and that's what's important. Speed of Mercury, Strength of Atlas. Screw you guys.
Dire's middle tower
Again, there's like 2 guys who are appreciating my attempt here, but also kind of upset that this is kind of falling flat on his face. Speaking of falling flat on his face, Jericho does have a charge out here. Void will cancel it, and it's going to be right on the mark, keeping him on the low ground, in fact. Didn't even get up those stairs. Toon has a million movement speed. There's an orb flying through, trying to go for the Ancients, but just ran really far away from that impetus shot, so it did a hell of a lot. And now this lane is showing its true colors. Say it with me, Sproink? Yeah, this Enchantress is really hard to deal with. She's maxing out her untouchable. Viper is level 6. The only problem is that if you do... Oh, well, first of all, Zinder's up towards top lane. He's taking an absolute beating right now. Dive again. Chilling Touch goes up. King Tekka will reconsider. Didn't get quite close enough for that silence. Cold Feet going to do a little bit of damage. Jian is going to just swipe him, though, with the blades. Matthew is kind of pissed. He's really angry. He wants to go for Zinder, but he was salving up in the trees in the meantime. And in the meantime, on the bottom lane, Bouncer once again gets run down by a horde of angry strength heroes. I guess Darkseer's intelligence, but he's 30 strength, okay, guys? Jeez. Toon has phase boots. Bambi is ready to Sproink fools. First fool to be Sproinked is this Darkseer. Now Surge is great, but Bambi has haste through, and he's actually body blocking him as well. HMN drops the Mana Void. There goes the Darkseer. That was like the most casual tier 1 tower dive on a Darkseer I've seen in my life. Like, actually, if you're going for a Darkseer, usually you have to set up with like 3 heroes. The Mana Void certainly helped. I mean, let's be real. Darkseer is going to run into mana issues up against an anti-mage, even with the Soul Ring. But casual tier 1 dive from Enchantress. What can you do? What can anyone do about this Hellspawn incarnate here from Enchantress? By the way, that's exactly why Spirit Breaker's not good versus Puck. They've completely abandoned the mid lane versus this Enchantress. She has 2 nulls. So base damage, 2 nulls and phase. So base damage wise, she's absolutely dishing. You can see doesn't have a ton of mana. So you'll be able to fire off 4 shots. Honestly, those 4 shots probably will kill someone, but is going to go for Dragonlance next. So is this the build for mid lane Enchantress? Rip your pubs, guys. You guys are going to have this in your games, and the mid laner is going to be an idiot and not as capable as a Toon, and you're just going to get dumpstered because this only works if you can actually get last hits in a meaningful way. And up against that Viper, who's like purely reliant on physical right clicks on the enemy hero to control the lane. Really a struggle. Oh, now a Toon. We're gonna go in for more. You gonna see a Darkseer? Maybe not. He sees Jericho. Yo, Bambi shows up and everyone flees. Luccini are so terrified about this Enchantress, and I don't blame them. Like, you should be scared. If they had Alina, this game would be so easy. Like, you just throw a Laguna Blade, some lightning in her face. Okay, maybe harder now that she has an Overclub, but still. Just drop a nuke on her and she's dead. Toon is even going to tank the tier 1. It's still fortifiable. Luccini aren't even going to bother. Enchantress just takes a tower. In the meantime, Viper's jungling. How messed up is this situation right now? Seriously. This is not supposed to be happening in a game of Dota right now. This is just so many levels of wrong. Like Luccini are gonna make that rotation. Bringing Makila, upgraded boots, and max out Metamorphosis. Though they don't have any image, they've gone for 2 points in reflection on this Terrorblade. That's pretty interesting. We usually don't see that second point for a very long time. Honestly, we don't really see that first point for a very long time. But here comes the Hellspawn. Toon is able to jack this illusion. No, actually he's not able to, but he's just gonna start poking at Jan, who has no attack speed. Toon is gonna get charged here. He has 4 points in those spirits, taking 0 damage. Literally 0 damage. Someone deal with this Bambi creature. She's killing everyone. Impetus shot, not quite gonna do it. And Toon is just gonna walk out of there. He was just sitting in Darkseer and Spirit Breaker Ion Shell. Went out here, he got overcommitted. Ion Shell's still up. The coil's gonna drop in a Toon. Is gonna be just fine. because of that safety coil from Tekka, they even end up stunning the Spirit Breaker somehow. One more shot, Impetus is gonna get the kill. What is happening, guys? Can somebody explain to me how this is a thing? Again, if you match up versus a Quaff or a Lina, the game is very different. Just casually dropping items like backpack. What backpack? Backpack is for noobs. The creeps see the items, like, there's just so much disrespect going on in this game. And in the meantime, while they were setting up for that play, I believe that smoke was actually spotted by this observer. That's why HFN and King RD just left immediately. They were farming the top lane. Got Battle Fury en route. They're actually doing some serious damage versus this tower as well. It's going to be pushed into deny range. Fortunately for DC.SA, oh, never mind. I was going to say, they probably can't take this tower until literal Satan comes in and just like, Sproink, I'm going to take your tower, bitches. Thanks. And I'm going to kill you as well? No way. No way. Look at those impetus shots. How is this balanced? Somebody please explain. Juke's in the trees. Darkseer, I believe in you. Surge? Oh, you can't surge that way. Satan's blocking your path. What do? He's getting body blocked by the AA. Oh, that's not an impetus shot. He messed up. But he doesn't care. He literally does not care at all. Oh, now he's dead, though, because he's going to shatter. You know what, Attune? I applaud your... Oh, no, he's going to teleport out. No way. Oh, my... What a god. What an actual god. Guys, I don't care what faith you are. I don't care what religion you are. Screw all of them. If you're an atheist, you better start believing. If you're a polytheist, you better eliminate the vast majority of your pantheon. If you're monotheistic, you have a new god. It's Attune and his enchantress. I don't have his address, but you guys should probably look it up and send your sacrifices to him because he's in charge of everything from now on. You know, just casually walking up the high ground. Oh, it's Terrorblade? Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and kill a Terrorblade. They have Crippling Fear, so he can't Sunder anyone. He doesn't even have Sunder. Just casual walk in. This right here, guys, this right here is the face of a killer. You know, she looks unassuming, but she will kill you and eat your babies. What the hell? You know, I was hyped for this match because I think, like, Luccini have been playing well enough to give DC.SA a run for their money. And of course, DC.SA are DC.SA. They've been performing pretty darn well since the team has joined. But my god, this is a clinic. This is some messed up Dota. Seriously messed up Dota. And by the way, they also have an anti-mage who's dying. I mean, maybe by saying that I killed him, but he has a 13-minute Power Treads Battle Fury. King RD has picked up level 6 in the meantime. Like, there are other heroes on the DC side. It just seems like it doesn't frickin' matter because Luccini can't kill this Enchantress, so, I mean, it's the 1v5 show right now. But yeah, when DC actually start joining up with their real team, since this is, I hear, a 5-man team game, then things are gonna get really ugly. Already there's a Veil on the puck. And they're looking to push the issue with this global silence. Their obs does wear off, but they don't need obs because they have a Night Stalker. Silence goes off on the Terrorblade. Orb as well. He's super dead. Who else wants a piece? Looks like they coil the Darkseer. Surge into Snap. That's going to end up doing a lot of damage because the Surge is going to do nothing. And hey, look! Your passage is blocked by Bambi, who's actually going to start killing you from the low ground. Jericho's going to try to TP out of here. Is there a Void? There's no mana for a Void. And the Spirit Breaker will survive.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Puck. With that Veil gunning towards that blanket anti-mage. As happy as an anti-mage can possibly be is just farming. Because you don't expect any issue to come towards your own jungle. There's no risk there. You're chilling. There's no one on the Luccini side who's going to be going for you in your own jungle at all.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's
Now the tower is going to be beaten down. Viper, he has... Gotta have something on the courier, right? Yeah, there we go. Dragonlance. Like, really, that's kind of pathetic. But no, the Dragonlance actually makes it legit. They're gonna jump in towards the Night Stalker. Ice Blast going to, well, chill the Night Stalker, and he'll be left behind. Puck and Attune both will get out of there as Luccini do get a much needed kill. But again, these kills kind of at this point need to be on heroes that matter a little bit more. Killed off HFN once. Definitely a good start, but you gotta just constantly apply larger pressure than just an occasional kill on an anti-mage if you want to stop him, especially in this game's context. Like, yeah, you'll kill him, but he's just going to respawn and then jump back out and farm some more. The way you deal with this is by taking down towers. You have to make sure that the anti-mage is running out of space to farm. That's how you cut off his farm, by cutting off his space. They will start on this bottom lane, but Terrorblade is not here. He's going to have to deal with the anti-mage's split push. That means Attune casually going to walk into 4 heroes. Right now, Ice Blast is going to chill, and Attune is dead now for sure, right? Yeah, 6 kill spree is over, and Attune turns out the 1v4 play is a little bit too much, but the backup is coming in. Do they really still want to do this? They have a global silence. Here comes the orb flying through. Silence onto a couple more as they will blow up the Darkseer. Coil has already been deployed onto Jericho. King RD gonna teleport out. He'll survive. And now Tekka, another orb that'll kill off Jericho and also probably get him to safety. It will. Night Stalker's stuck back here, but he has another Void, which will kill off this AA if he finds him. And got him. J Mari's gonna have enough sight though to get the kill on the Night Stalker afterwards. It's a 2-for-3 trade. After all is said and done. This is going to work out actually pretty well for Luccini. Like, it definitely could be worse. They keep their Terrorblade alive. Viper ends up getting a kill, stays alive as well, and they end up killing the Enchantress. The problem is that it's just in that context of the one fight. While that fight was happening, Anti-Mage was farming. He already has his Yasha up and is starting to become an absolute monster. Toon is definitely going to reevaluate how confident he feels in this game. Again, the 1v4 play was, let's call it, aggressive. I wonder if Anti-Mage is paying attention to his illusions. Toon this time is going to see it coming somewhat. Can't get the heal off. Nether Strike is here. Ice Blast as well as the Vacuum. He does have a Force Staff. Actually, no, it looks like the Vacuum canceled the Force Staff. But it doesn't matter, because he has enough durability to just tank through all of it. What you saw there was the gank and all the spells being cast, but no physical right clicks in between those spells because of that untouchable. And usually that's where the damage actually comes from. Viper off of that bottom lane fight, himself up a Shadow Blade, starting to get some sort of relevant farm here. And the Terrorblade is not doing too bad either.
Coin for me.
Right now, it's still this looming threat of the Anti-Mage. Sooner or later, he's just going to bust out of the jungle and be done farming. It looks like he'll start with Roche. You know, you can farm creeps, you can farm Ancients, but why farm them when you can farm Roche? Toon is taking literally no damage from Roche. You can always use the attendants, get the sprites out. HFN is DD, and as Luccini, they saw the Anti-Mage walk in. Still can't do anything about it. Toon has a Hurricane Pike, so he does have that insane impetus combo, but still gets caught. There is a charge coming in as well as the ice. It looks like Enchantress this time, again, is going to fall. Second big kill as Matthew is going to try to fly over the cliffside. There's an Observer Ward there, and GN to cut him off, so Matthew is dead here. 2 kills for Luccini, 2 much-needed kills. DC will hold onto their Silencer ultimate. So he's been farming in the background. Puck nowhere near that engagement as well. Really, Jericho? Really, you want to do this? I feel like he's not going to get punished, at least. No one in the area. AM with the Manta style now. Starting to get to the point where he is going to be willing to join his allies. Now, what DC do lack is just like a real frontline type hero. Jericho actually gonna land the charge on the Puck. That's surprising. Gets an additional bash. But Puck looks like he may have just been baiting the entire time. Jumps a coil onto the Spirit Breaker, and he's gonna try to TP out. Void was already used. Damage not quite enough. Ice Blast flies in, and Tekka will take quite a bit of damage here. But then again, so will this Darkseer. Looks like Attune. Darkseer stopped moving. I don't know if that was a bait or what, but no one's gonna die here. I mean, they've kind of neutered this Enchantress. She isn't farming nearly as much as she was before. She's no longer running around the map by herself, but she has forced Luccini to group up. And that, of course, is going to place, yes, more pressure on the anti-mage to perform. But, I mean, he's an anti-mage. He has 5,000 gold above the next highest hero. He is pretty much in the ideal spot to perform. Global Silence to cover him, as well as the Enchantress. Pretty much as happy as can be. Matthew, though, going to get charged. Metamorphosis is there with the Nether Strike. Matthew is going to be dropped without casting a single thing.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Like the Night Stalker going a little bit too far for his own good. A lot of careless plays here from the DC side. They don't have any vision in the area, just kind of walking up by themselves. Take down a couple of illusions. Enchantress now is at a more reasonable state of game. Again, this is the anti-mage show right now. There is a wall, there's a vacuum, but only level 2 and 1. This is a very low level dark sphere considering. They're going to start charging in. Global Silence is going to be cast, which is going to stop the initiation. HFN is going to annihilate 2. And now with the Aegis is going to be feeling comfortable enough to hunt down Jericho. Right clicks, close, they got him. HFN instantly blinks forward looking for more. Global Silence for 3. 3 expendable heroes for Luccini, or quote-unquote expendable heroes. But still the tower will fall, and HFN really wants to use this Aegis. Time to suicide up to tier 3. If that's even going to be the case. I don't even know if we can call that a suicide up to tier 3, because they can jump in on this Viper anytime they wish. Looks like they'll instead decide to fall back. And Global Silence is down. It's time to peace out. Everyone's going to make their escape. Anti-Mage is pushing that level 20 mark, so even more power from him. What if you get the evasion here? Certainly very good up against these Luccini heroes, but stats is stats.
Dire are scanning.
Luccini, lose a team fight. Lose a tower as well. Get a little bit of a taste of what this anti-mage can do. The anti-mage is going to have even more protection soon enough as he goes for the Lincoln Sphere. The Luccini don't really have any, like, absolutely must-land spells on the anti-mage, so this Lincoln Sphere is going to be for just general safety as opposed to, you know, if you're facing up against a Shadow Shaman. Or Necrophos, like, where Lincoln Sphere is the premium item. Maybe a nice value item for HFN. Keep himself safe for his charges. If you block a Viper Strike, you're really happy. Cold Feet is whatever, but still. He just wants to use this Aegis, man. He wants a fight. Come at me, bro. Or he wants to skip behind the enemy tier 2. It's off creep wave. I mean, he has Lincoln Sphere and Aegis. What the hell is he scared of? He knows he can't be charged. Or if he is going to be charged, then just blink out, because it's really obvious. Plus, you have the Manta Style, just in case you do get caught. Perform a little bit of a magic trick, and you're free out of there. Easy tier 2. The big question here for DC is, how do they push up the high ground? Enchantress does have this Hurricane Pike. As far as additional range, not yet. They're going to find Jimari on the bottom lane. There's no true sight here for the Anti-Mage. In fact, a lot of heroes to Luccini are coming around. Not quite at the right angle, though. HFN is going to scan. See, it's red for a very long time, so he's got to assume there's a lot of heroes coming in. It looks like he is going to go stats. Get that health value. Protect yourself the most up against that AA.
Coin of the realm.
HFN is just getting nuts out of control right now. He had a 4K lead, now pushing that to an 8K lead, almost 9. Are you kidding me? What the hell are you supposed to do against this?
Coin for me.
Doesn't have an Abyssal or a Basher just yet. But HFN, for all his power, gone for a little bit of a defensive choice in this Lincoln Sphere. For Luccini, I guess, is great. Gotta make sure that you don't get picked off by Enchantress, Puck. You don't have to worry about an Anti-Mage picking you off, at least not right now. I assume that's going to be his next item. Again, these heroes in Luccini are just really tanky, really hard to bring down. But as an Anti-Mage, you're probably not going to get those kills unless you do pick up an Abyssal Basher. Or you have your teammates. Because again, this is a 5v5 game, I hear. Still a global silence. We're level 1, but it's there. Yule's being built up on Matthew, already up on the puck. And we got a smoke. It's not spotted by anything from the Dire. Line is drawn. They want to use this global silence. They want to and just throw the Anti-Mage in to use his power level. Looks like he's just going for raw damage. Man, I mean, you have Manta Style. Getting Butterfly and AM is never bad. Illusions are going to be hitting pretty hard. Jan is actually real. They don't quite know about that. Reflection goes up. He does quite a bit of damage. The Anti-Mage one does. It's not exactly how they wanted that to go. But still, forcing the Luccini side back in their own base. Anti-Mage in the meantime, having creep waves bouncing around everywhere. So hard to deal with.
Invisibility.
Really clips himself. Butterfly though. I mean, for the same reasons I was saying, like, do you get evasion or do you get stats here? Really good up against Viper and Terrorblade. With their current level of farm, won't really ever be able to get to a point where they're going to have a True Strike item. I mean, they will eventually. But it's going to be, like, an easy 10 minutes of free evasion time for the Anti-Mage where he doesn't have to worry about those guaranteed right clicks. Not to mention the fact that, you know, it just gives you a ton of damage. That's good too. Sometimes you just need a massive damage item. More farm speed. He looped around the enemy jungle, then his own jungle, so fast that the enemy jungle didn't respawn. This is all gold going into the Anti-Mage's pocket. We got King RD in the middle of no man's land, because they don't really need the silencer with them right now for what they're doing. They just need to make sure that his ultimate button works. Meantime, Luccini are getting like 1 lane worth of farm, maybe 1.5. But the jungle is being dominated by the DC side, all the jungles. Creep waves are being cut by HFN, and this game state is going to lead to just a sharp spike. Maybe not a sharp spike, not even a sharp, a steady slope of advantage being built for DC. See, that's not a sharp spike, that's a steady slope. That's a little bit more of a steep slope. But this game state is just not good for Luccini. They gotta find some way to break themselves out of this. I'm not really sure what that is, though. Vacuum wall at this point still isn't even maxed out with the wall. Or with the vacuum, rather. I guess the wall also is not maxed out. Oh, Jamari, Mana Void's here to cancel. He went invisible there. He does also have that silver edge, although he is going to teleport into a Night Stalker. Stalker, though, can't really challenge the Viper. Ice Blast coming in. Will maybe chill a tune. And doesn't do all that much.
Dire structures are fortified.
Gold remains.
Ultimately, Luccini will maybe have an opportunity to get some map control with the Night Stalker kill. But Yules and Runaway is a pretty solid way of getting out of there for a Night Stalker, especially since nighttime you get to fly. And look at that, Roshan is up. Pretty sure he doesn't need Enchantress here. His regen is actually quite high because of that Lincoln Sphere. We also have this, a little bit of extra regen. Jan is out. Orb will fly, connect onto 1. Jan's smoke is going to break here. Here comes the Ice Blast. Matthew in the front. Will have the Yule Scepter buy himself some safety. Oh, but a coil lands on the 3 in the background, keeping them very far away so that the Anti-Mage can just clean house in the Roach Pit, taking it with the Ice Blast. Now he's going to jump in, looking for the Darkseer. So much damage with those impetus shots, my god. Even into the Shrine, HFN. Short flank in, Manta Style there as well. He's going to just challenge Jen, 1v1 me, bro. It looks like HFN will go down as Jen does also sunder King RD. Gets himself the full health pool. And now he has to deal with HFN round 2. He's going to blink back as Global Silence is going to be used perhaps a little bit late.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Looking for maybe another opportunity here on this Terrorblade. That was a very, very staggered fight style. They are going to find Jen. Does slide down to the low ground. No, Tekka. You don't want to charge that guy. He has Yules now, plus Phase Shift.
Dire Dire's bottom tower is
HFN
under
did
attack.
use the Aegis there. Only just a 1-for-1 trade. That didn't actually work out too well for DC. The game plan there should have been stall the enemy heroes out on this side and then hopefully kill off Roche fast enough that the anti-mage can actually join in and contribute somewhat to that coil. A little bit off timing there. That was actually still a really good fight for Luccini, but you have cheese on the Enchantress, and still, the Global Silence wasn't even used for a real fight. It did seem like DC, since they know that they're getting further ahead, given this game state, kind of just half-assing that fight because they knew that they didn't have to really take it seriously. That wasn't a do-or-die fight. That was just a fight to see what they can get done. Basher up on the Anti-Mage now. Zinder has picked up a Hand of Midas. Some gold for the Ancient Apparition, but the scan is going to go red. He does have a TP right now. It looks like he should be fine. They don't have any way of canceling this. Luccini, BKB, Hurricane Pike on the Terrorblade. See, challenging the Anti-Mage pretty darn well. Of course, that's going to change now that the Anti-Mage has that Basher. Viper as well, Silver Edge. Finally, we do have a maxed out Vacuum level for the Darkseer. Guardian Greaves, earlier, invaluable against DC, so Luccini are getting some relevant items up. Certainly fewer, though, than what the DC side have going for them. Viper just doesn't farm that fast. Puck and Enchantress aren't farming incredibly quickly either. Ags is being built up for a tune. At that point, his attack range, he can poke at the enemy high ground from, about 2 miles away. Okay, silence up the Spirit Breaker. They're just going to walk right in. Trying to activate. Will drive the rest of DC back. A tune doesn't have a ton of mana. Does have a cheese. Really don't want a cheese for mana, though. That's not ideal. Another strike. Cancel. Blink silence into jaunt away. They're just messing with them at this point, because over in the mid lane, the Anti-Mage is having a little bit of a fun poking party. Although there is no creep wave here. Viper Momentum doing quite a bit of work. Anti-Mage still. They disrespect this Viper. Is broken, yes, but in the Manta style and just walk out of there. In the meantime, top lane, they initiate hard. And with the coil drop, they kill out the Darkseer. Also Zinder is going to get a point blank Ice Blast off. Maybe to kill off a tune, but BKB is going to keep him safe. In the meantime, HFN jumps in, slays Jemari by himself. Charge coming in, and he micros the illusion that's being charged right to the front. Another strike will be canceled in the end, and this split push now is backbreaking. Luccini, even if they had all of their heroes in this top lane, I'm not really sure if they could defend against this. A bit of shots, gonna go straight in towards the Terrorblade. The Enchantress did consume the cheese, but Anti-Mage is coming in from the back now, has an Abyssal Blade. Short blink first at Bash, Spirit Breaker down. Down to Jemari, who just fought back as well, is gonna go ahead and go right back to the grave. Gets pushed back by the Enchantress, and actually survives because of it. A little bit of a misclick there from a tomb, but they find the Terrorblade. That's good too. Looking for more. They'll feast on everyone from Luccini. You're not safe. Fountain, not gonna happen, man. Still not gonna happen. HFN short blink in. Doesn't matter. GG is called. 22-12. Digital Chaos are not going to beat Luccini. They're going to destroy them. It was a little bit of an anticlimactic